Most women believe that a loyal man proves his love through words, through "I love you," through promises, through reassurance. But the truth is much quieter. A faithful man rarely says it out loud. He proves it through two gestures so subtle, so easily overlooked, that most women never even notice them until it's too late. And that's why so many end up doubting a good man. They confuse silence with indifference, when in reality, silence is sometimes how a loyal man protects what he feels. He won't flood you with words. He'll simply act. And those actions, if you know how to read them, say more than 1,000 declarations of love ever could. Because love for a loyal man isn't about performing. It's about presence. It's about consistency when no one's watching. It's about the moments that seem ordinary but are actually filled with quiet devotion. And when a man truly loves, he shows it in ways that don't sparkle under the light. They hide in the shadows of his everyday behavior. Maybe you've had a man like that in your life, the kind who didn't post about you online, who didn't constantly text "I miss you," but who always showed up when it mattered, who listened to your fears even when he didn't have the right words to fix them, who remembered the little things you mentioned once, months ago. That's what real loyalty looks like. It doesn't need to announce itself. But here's the catch. Most women, especially those who've been hurt, stop believing in that kind of love. They start measuring affection by attention, by how much a man calls, how often he compliments, how visible he makes his feelings. And when a man doesn't fit that pattern, he's mistaken for cold, distant, or emotionally unavailable. Yet, in many cases, he's just being genuine in the only way he knows how, quietly. There are only two gestures that truly reveal the heart of a loyal man. Two behaviors that cut through all the noise and reveal whether his love runs deep or is just a show. These gestures aren't grand. They're not the stuff of romantic movies. But they carry a truth that no lie can imitate. Understanding these two gestures will completely change the way you see men. It will stop you from doubting a good heart just because it's calm. It will protect you from chasing empty words while ignoring real commitment. And it will help you recognize when a man loves you not out of need, but out of choice. A conscious, mature, unshakable choice. Before we get to them, though, you need to understand something essential about how faithful men love. When a man is truly loyal, his love has weight. It's not impulsive. It doesn't come and go with mood or circumstance. It's grounded. It has roots. He might not express it with the same emotional vocabulary you do, but his actions are anchored in one truth. He's chosen you, and that choice defines how he moves, speaks, and lives. You'll never see him shouting about his loyalty. You'll never hear him make promises he can't keep. Instead, you'll notice that when things get difficult, he stays. When life tests you both, he adjusts instead of running. And when temptation crosses his path, he remembers the peace he's building with you and refuses to trade it for a moment's thrill. That's why many women underestimate men like him, because his love doesn't feed on attention. It breathes through trust. His gestures are small but constant, and if you miss them, you might think he's detached. But if you learn to read them, you'll realize he's giving you something far rarer than romantic intensity. He's giving you emotional safety. In a world where people are used to fast affection and short-lived passion, a loyal man's love feels almost invisible, but it's not. It's steady, like a heartbeat. You don't see it, but it keeps everything alive. And once you understand what those two gestures are, you'll never doubt a good man again. There was a woman named Emily who once told me something that stayed in my mind for years. She said, "I thought my husband stopped loving me because he stopped saying it." At first it sounded simple, but as she told her story, it became clear that what she'd lost wasn't love. It was attention. And like many women, she mistook the absence of words for the absence of feeling. Emily had been married for over 10 years. In the early days, her husband Daniel was all passion and excitement. He would write little notes, bring flowers, plan surprises. But as time went by, those gestures faded. Life got busy. Bills, routines, work. All the noise that slowly drowns what once felt magical. She told me how one night, sitting at the kitchen table after another silent dinner, she looked at him and said, "Do you even love me anymore?" Daniel didn't answer right away. He just looked at her with tired eyes and said softly, "If I didn't, I wouldn't still be here." It wasn't what she wanted to hear. She wanted fire, reassurance, emotion. Instead, she got a quiet sentence that didn't sound romantic at all. But years later, she realized it was the most honest thing he ever said, because Daniel wasn't a man of words. He was a man of actions, and his two silent gestures had been there all along. She just hadn't seen them. One day, Emily's mother got sick, and she had to travel 3 hours every weekend to take care of her. Daniel never complained. He packed her bags, filled the car with gas, and took care of everything at home while she was away. He didn't post about being a supportive husband. He didn't expect gratitude. He simply showed up week after week. Then, when Emily lost her job, she fell into a deep sadness. She stopped dressing up, stopped talking, spent days in bed. Daniel didn't lecture her. He didn't say, "It'll be fine." He just started cooking her favorite meals, leaving them by her side, sometimes without a word. He was there, quietly consistent, emotionally stable, unshaken. That's when she realized, loyalty doesn't always look like romance. Sometimes it looks like reliability. It looks like a man who stays when things stop being exciting. A man who keeps doing the small things because his love isn't dependent on how fun or easy things are. It's built on commitment. When Emily told me this, she said something that perfectly described the heart of a faithful man. "I was waiting for butterflies, but he was building a nest." That's what loyal men do. They don't chase the constant thrill of newness. They build safety even when no one notices. But here's the painful part. While Daniel was proving his love through stability, Emily, like many women, started to mistake comfort for distance. She thought love had to feel like excitement, not calm. So she began to doubt. She started comparing, looking at couples online, at friends whose husbands posted long declarations and took extravagant trips. She thought, maybe that's what love should look like. And as she began craving those external signs, she overlooked the invisible gestures that were right in front of her, gestures that only faithful men make. Then one day, Daniel came home earlier than usual. He looked at her and said, "You've been somewhere else lately." She felt guilty but didn't know how to explain it. She loved him, but she was lost between fantasy and reality. She wanted passion, but she forgot that passion without peace burns too fast. It wasn't until a friend of hers went through a breakup, a man who cheated, lied, and disappeared, that she finally understood the difference. That night, Emily went home, looked at Daniel asleep on the couch, and noticed something small. His phone was on the table, unlocked. Messages from work, reminders, nothing hidden. He never guarded his privacy because there was nothing to hide. That was the first gesture. The second one was even simpler. He always made sure she felt safe even when she didn't ask for it. If she came home late, he waited awake. If she was upset, he didn't argue. He stayed calm so she could rest her emotions. He carried her peace like it was his responsibility. Those were the two gestures she had missed all along, the quiet protection and the transparent presence. It took her years to understand that a faithful man's love isn't loud. It's in the details, in what he chooses not to do, in what he protects without applause. And when she finally saw that, everything changed. Every man expresses love in his own way, but when it comes to a faithful man, his heart speaks in silence. His love language isn't always emotional talk or grand gestures. It's two deep psychological patterns that reveal what kind of man he truly is, and both come from instinct, not strategy. The first gesture is emotional guardianship. A loyal man doesn't protect you only from the outside world. He protects you from his own storms. When he's angry, stressed, or lost, he doesn't use you as his emotional punching bag. He steps back, regains control, and makes sure that his chaos doesn't contaminate your peace. That's love in its most disciplined form. Many men love when it's easy, but a faithful man shows his love when he's hurting. He doesn't let his pain destroy the home you've built together. That's the first proof, not in what he says, but in what he refuses to do. When he holds back harsh words, when he chooses calm over pride, he's proving that your emotional safety matters more than his ego. Psychologically, this comes from one of the rarest male traits, emotional self-regulation. Most men are raised to suppress or explode, but a man who truly loves learns to contain. He sees you not as competition, but as someone he must preserve. When a man protects your emotional world, he's saying, "I love you enough to guard you from the worst parts of me." And that's something no cheater, no manipulator, no smooth talker can fake, because that kind of control requires effort, a daily choice to be gentle in a world that rewards aggression. The second gesture is transparency without performance. It's the way he naturally lives in the open. He doesn't make you question where he is, who he's texting, or what he's hiding. Not because he's trying to prove anything, but because his life has nothing to conceal. His loyalty is quiet honesty. His consistency replaces explanations. You'll see it in the small details. He leaves his phone on the table, never flips it down. He shares his plans without being asked. He's predictable, not in a boring way, but in a way that builds trust. His patterns don't change based on mood or opportunity. And here's what's fascinating from a psychological standpoint. Transparency creates security, but for men it also requires vulnerability. Many men hide simply because they fear judgment. A faithful man, however, understands that love can't survive without clarity. He knows that what's hidden eventually poisons connection, so instead of over-explaining, he simply lives truthfully. Both gestures, emotional guardianship and transparency, are invisible to the superficial eye. They don't create fireworks, they don't go viral on social media, but they form the foundation of emotional permanence. Women who have been hurt often crave visible reassurance. They want to hear, "I love you," to see posts, to feel constant attention, and that's understandable. Emotional wounds create hunger for certainty, but the paradox is this: the more secure a man truly is, the less he performs love, because he doesn't need validation. He's too busy living it. In therapy terms, it's called secure attachment. A faithful man isn't trying to convince you to trust him. He's giving you reasons every single day through consistency. The way he comes home, the way he listens, the way he remembers, the way he stays. If you pay attention, you'll notice something powerful. The same silence that once made you doubt him is actually proof of depth. Love that doesn't need attention is love that's already at peace. That's why so many women only realize a man's loyalty after losing him, because it's only in absence that you notice how much peace he provided. Chaos becomes the contrast that reveals his quiet devotion, and maybe that's the tragedy of modern love. We're trained to notice noise, not peace. We celebrate excitement, not steadiness. We crave the chase, not the calm. But true love, the kind that lasts decades, lives in those calm, loyal gestures. When a man chooses silence over shouting, clarity over secrecy, patience over impulse, he's showing love in the most masculine, stable form. He's building a sense of safety that words could never replace. That's why a faithful man's love is often misunderstood. It doesn't look like passion, it looks like reliability. It doesn't look like intensity, it looks like consistency. But when the world collapses, that's the love that holds everything together. And if you ever find a man like that, one who protects your peace and lives in transparency, don't question the lack of drama. That calm is what women spend a lifetime praying for, but many only recognize it after losing it. The greatest danger in love isn't being betrayed, it's misunderstanding a loyal heart. Because when you mistake a faithful man's calm for distance, you slowly push away the very peace you've always wanted. It usually doesn't happen overnight. It starts quietly, the small doubts, the questions whispered to yourself late at night. Why doesn't he say it anymore? Why doesn't he post about me? Why does he seem so calm when I'm emotional? Those thoughts grow roots, and the more you focus on what he doesn't do, the less you see what he actually does. A loyal man doesn't beg to be believed. He assumes that his consistency speaks louder than explanations. But if you can't see his silent gestures, he'll start feeling like his love isn't enough. He won't fight for validation. He'll pull away in silence. Not because he stopped loving you, but because he got tired of proving something that should have been felt, not demanded. That's how many women lose the rarest kind of man. Not because he left for someone else, but because he grew tired of being unseen. You can't keep asking a loyal man to prove what he's already living. At some point, he'll choose peace over confusion, even if it means walking away from the woman he loves. Psychologically, this is what experts call emotional burnout through invisibility. When someone's loyalty is constantly doubted, it begins to feel pointless. His gestures, the patience, the transparency, the quiet protection, start to fade, and suddenly, the same woman who once had the safest love of her life starts saying, "He's changed." But he didn't change. He just stopped trying to be understood. That's the tragedy of not recognizing those two gestures. Because once a loyal man retreats emotionally, it's almost impossible to get him back. He won't punish you. He won't argue. He won't make scenes. He'll simply shut down. He'll keep being kind but distant, present but not connected. And when he finally walks away, it won't be with anger. It'll be with peace. You'll look back and realize he never lied, never betrayed, never failed you. He just loved differently, in silence, with depth, with presence. And that's when the guilt begins to burn. because no new man will ever love you with that same quiet devotion. You'll meet others, maybe more expressive, more romantic, more charming, but something will always feel unstable. You'll miss the calm you once mistook for boredom. You'll crave the safety you confused with routine. You'll long for the peace that only loyalty can give. This is why awareness is everything. The sooner you learn to recognize a loyal man's love, the fewer regrets you'll carry. When you stop expecting love to be loud, you start appreciating the kind that lasts, the kind that doesn't need applause. Remember this truth: a man's silence isn't always emptiness. Sometimes it's emotional maturity. When he doesn't shout in arguments, it's not because he doesn't care. It's because he's protecting the relationship from damage. When he doesn't text all day, it's not neglect. It's trust. When he doesn't post you on social media, it's not secrecy. It's respect for privacy. But if you treat those things as proof of disinterest, you create emotional distance where there was once devotion. And once a loyal man feels that he's being punished for being stable, he learns a painful lesson. Love, no matter how true, can't survive where it isn't trusted. That's why the awareness you gain today can change everything. It can save a relationship that's slowly dying of misunderstanding. It can help you see that the man who doesn't flood you with words might actually be the one who would never hurt you. Because at the end of the day, a loyal man doesn't love to be admired. He loves to protect. He doesn't say, "I love you" every day, but he makes sure you never have to doubt it in his actions. And when you recognize that, something shifts. You stop searching for proof and start feeling peace. So ask yourself right now, have you been chasing intensity, or have you been valuing loyalty? Because one fades fast and the other endures quietly for a lifetime. In the end, love doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be real. And the love of a faithful man is exactly that. Imperfect, quiet, but deeply real. It's not about showing off, it's about showing up. It's not about saying everything right. It's about doing what's right, even when no one is watching. The two gestures that reveal a loyal man's heart will never be loud. You won't find them in poems, flowers, or grand speeches. You'll find them in how safe you feel next to him, in how much peace his presence brings, and how consistently he lives with honesty, even when it would be easier not to. Emotional guardianship and quiet transparency. These are the invisible pillars of a man's love. They're what separate a loyal man from one who only loves for convenience. They're the difference between a temporary thrill and a lifelong connection. If you've ever had a man like that, remember this. You were loved in silence, but with depth. His calm wasn't distance, it was care. His few words weren't emptiness, they were truth. And if you ever wondered why he didn't need to prove his love all the time, it's because he was already living it. But if you have that kind of man now, don't wait until it's gone to realize how rare it is. Appreciate the small things, the quiet support, the steady tone in conflict, the predictable loyalty that asks for nothing but trust. Those are the gestures that build the kind of relationship people spend years searching for. One based not on drama, but on peace. Because love isn't supposed to keep you anxious. It's supposed to make you feel safe enough to breathe. And that's what a faithful man gives. Not excitement that burns fast, but security that endures. When you truly understand that, everything changes. You stop craving intensity and start desiring stability. You stop seeking attention and start valuing intention. You stop confusing love with performance and start seeing it for what it really is. Quiet consistency over time. That's the love that stays. That's the love that rebuilds you after pain. That's the love that doesn't ask, "Do you still love me?" Because it's shown every single day in actions too honest to be faked. And maybe deep down, that's what you've been missing. Not romance that everyone sees, but connection that only you can feel. The kind that doesn't need witnesses, just trust. So take a moment tonight and think about this. Who brings you peace instead of chaos? Who makes you feel safe instead of uncertain? Who doesn't need to prove anything because their loyalty speaks for itself? That's your answer. That's what love looks like when it's real. If this message spoke to your heart, it's not by accident. It's because deep down you know the difference between a man who says he loves you and one who proves it in silence. Cherish that difference. Learn to see the invisible gestures, and never again confuse calm for indifference, because sometimes silence is the loudest way a loyal man says, "I love you." Now tell me in the comments, have you ever met a man who loved you in silence?